Today we got some Fox 3.0 internal bypass from a Bronco in need of a rebuild. We already got the spring off. Right now I'm gonna get the top mount off, mount it upright, and we'll start to take it apart, get the rebuild started. That is a lot of Loctite. Right now we're going to be taking off the reservoir end cap. I'm going to take off the trader cap here. Then we'll take off the core. Give it a little bit of persuasion. So we're bringing this end cap down so that it can reveal the circlip right back here. Go ahead and get that circlip out. We use our end cap removal tool. If you can't get it off with the tool, sometimes the seals can be a little bit tricky to get loose. Little trick is to, if you have some compressed air, add some compressed air on the Schrader side. That'll pop the cap off. Pressure will push out. Be careful, that will push out pretty violently sometimes, so just be aware of that. All right, so now we got the cap off. I'm gonna push this reservoir to the side and then we'll work on getting the shaft out. So all of the seal head and end cap is all threaded. So you use a spanner wrench, get the locking ring loose. Then once you do that, you can get the seal head started and get that loose, take it out. Because these have some Loctite, sometimes use a little bit of force to get this loose. If you can't get it with force, you'd use leverage. If you have a longer spanner wrench, that'll definitely help. Gonna add a little cheater extension. There you go. Now we got that loose. We're gonna do the same thing to the seal head. Spin that out of the bypass tube that's inside. Now we got those loose. The shaft with the whole assembly will come right out. So we'll get rid of all of the oil that's in here. There's still going to be some residue oil in the line. So when you take off your IFP, you want to be careful. Don't just yank it out. A bunch of oil is going to spread everywhere. So go ahead and use our IFP puller tool. You want to make sure that your adjusters are backed off all the way. That's going to make it easier for the IFP to pull out. If these are turned in, because that is pushing those shims closer together, making it harder for fluid to go through, it's going to be harder for the IFP to pull out. You can see the oil in there. We'll go ahead and dump the rest of that out. Make sure all of this is empty, and then we'll continue tearing it apart. All right, so we're gonna break this nut loose, take it off, take this whole assembly with the shims off. That way we could get to the seal head and get those seals changed out. Since this is going in the ultrasonic parts cleaner, I can get a zip tie, get all of this, all the shims together. That way, this whole assembly can just go in the ultrasonic cleaner. So before this goes in the ultrasonic cleaner, we'll get all the seals off. So when you're using a metal pick, you want to be careful not to scratch any of the mating surface for the seals. Reason why is any scratch, any deep cut in the aluminum, it's very easy for a steel pick to cut into it, and that will cause some leakage past the seal. So you want to be very careful. If you do use a metal pick, you're not going inside the seat for the seal. You're just going on the outside and picking it out. If you can, use a composite pick. Sometimes those seals are a little stiff, so composite pick won't do the job. Just be careful when you do use a steel pick. So now we got these seals out. We can throw this in the parts cleaner. We'll get the rest of these seals out. Usually you don't need to use a pick for these. You can just pinch them and they'll pop up. Just like that. Do the same thing for the IFP. So on this particular one, the bypass tube is actually threaded into the top part of the body. This body will slide up and there's two seals underneath this that we would need to change out. So to get that, you could either tap up on the preload collar or kind of just wiggle it back and forth. Then that'll just slide up. So same thing on these seals, don't necessarily need a pick, kind of just pinch them loose. There you go. You could slide those up. And then we'll go ahead and use some alcohol. Get all this cleaned up. We'll also be cleaning the inside of the tube. These are pretty fresh, but same thing with any other rebuild. You want to clean all the inside. Sometimes there's gunk in there. The oil could be murky and thick. So you just want to get all of that out. And then that way when you put fresh fluid, it's not being mixed with the old fluid. Got a couple shop rags here. Ball them up. We're going to use the forceps. And just going to clean that as best as you can. You can see it cleaned it up. See all the old oil on there. So we got our new seals. We're going to be adding a little bit of multi-purpose synthetic grease. Reason for this is just so that when you slide over the body or slide over the slip, it's not going to cut up the seals. It's going to be able to glide over, not get stuck on anything, and clean it all out. Now we got to balled up a couple more rags because the opening is a little bit wider. So balled up a little bit more, then clean it all out. Now we got it cleaned up. We can slide it back over, put this back together. Just want to make sure it seats on that first seal, and then you can just kind of work it down. You'll hear the two pops. Make sure it's seated all the way down. That's it. We'll go get our parts out of the parts washer, and then we'll get those seals. We're going to be changing out the seal behind this fitting. So when we take the hose off, we want to make sure that it's back in line. So we're going to mark it up. That way, when we go to put it back together, we can match those lines up. Get it all aligned again. Now we got the hose off, we'll get this fitting off and change that seal. All right, now we got the reservoir clamped on the flat sides. Go ahead and take this fitting off. And this is the seal that we're going to be switching out. So we have our previous alignment marks. Make sure those line up. And get them tightened down. We got it lined up. Got it locked back down. So we'll get all these parts wiped down, then put some new seals. Again, multi-purpose grease. So this bottom seal can be a little tricky because it actually has two seals. You got a flat seal and then a split seal that goes right on top of that. best way to do that is you're going to put your first seal in. Usually get a composite pick. I push that seal down, grab my split seal. I'm going to put one end in first. Then just guide it in. So when you could use the back of a pick, kind of guide it in. So we got our bullet tool, put a little bit of grease on there just to allow these seals to glide over. Now we'll go ahead and torque this nut down to manufacturer's specs. We want to make sure there's a shim here with an indicator sitting on one of the bleed ports. You want to make sure that's centered right in the middle before torquing it down. One of the most important things when rebuilding a shock is to make sure that you don't have any air bubbles inside of the system. So to eliminate some air forming inside, we're going to fill the reservoir up with fluid, push the IFP down, forcing any bubbles into the hose and out the body. And we'll still use a vacuum bleeder just to suck out any of the last bubbles that are in there before we start to assemble the shock. So we'll leave the IFP towards the outside and we'll let it hang for a little bit. What we're doing here is allowing any air bubbles to travel up. That way we're getting rid of any bubbles in there before we push the IFP fully through. So when you're pushing it in, you want to leave the IFP in the lowest position. That way all the bubbles are traveling up. If we rotate this, air bubbles will come back and possibly stay in this area. We got our shock set up here. We're gonna use the vacuum bleeder, get all the bubbles out. Run it a couple times until we see there's no more bubbles coming out. Now that we got the air bled using the vacuum bleeder, we're gonna be installing the shaft. There's still gonna be some air trapped in the piston. So we're still gonna have to manually cycle it up and down to get any of that air bubble to be forced out from the shim stack and the piston. So now we use our spanner wrench again to drive this seal head further in. You want to keep an eye on the O-ring. Make sure that it's not pinching, make sure it's not bulging out, sitting flat and going into the body as you spin it. Once you have your seal head driven all the way down, you're going to give it a couple taps just to lock that in. Clean this off with some alcohol. And same thing, we'll use our spanner wrench Once you're driven it all the way down, we give it a couple taps. You could see where our O-ring was left was right up against the end of the reservoir, and it's moved out just a little bit due to the seal head being pushed in, and that's pushing the fluid, pushing the IFP back in, which is what we wanted. So now we're going to cycle the shock, make sure that we have enough room back here and it's not going to hit the end cap. So go ahead and push our shaft and you'll see this IFP tool being pushed out. So that's where we're at full compression. Now we'll put our reservoir end cap on. Put our circlip in place. And we could use our tool to seat the end cap. We'll get a fresh Schrader core. Oh, sorry, wrong tool. There we go. So we have two bleed ports up here with a little bit of nitrogen in the reservoir. We can loosen these up and we should get any bubbles out of here. If there is any. That'll also help us set our IFP depth if we notice that it went a little too far, then let a little bit of fluid out of here. So now we're gonna fill it up to the manufacturer required PSI. That's gonna wrap up this rebuild for the Fox 3.0 internal bypass. If you like this style of content, let us know in the comments below, like the video, and if you're not already subscribed, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you can get notified as soon as we release a new video. Until next time, we'll see you guys out on the trail.